At approximately 11:20 this morning, we believe that a small craft came down in the vicinity here near our school, West Side Charter School. None of the children were ever in danger. I received a phone call from our Gary Police Department Commander Pete Sormaz involving me that a small craft had come down. At that time, we did not know how many personnel may have been involved. We believe this to be a maximum of a 4-person aircraft. It came down some distance from here in a wooded area. We cannot make a determination at this time how many souls were on board. The flight originated from Smyrna, Tennessee. Our initial Engine 8, came in to assist in extinguishing the flames. The incident was is commanded by our airport chief, Anthony McClinton. At that time, PD was on scene to assist us in making sure everything was secure. Again, we don't have any further details on who was on board, the make of the craft. All we know that it was a general aviation aircraft. NTSB has been notified and the FAA. They are en route. We expect them to arrive at about 2:30 this afternoon. At the time the call came in, I myself was not in town. My deputy chief here can give you more specific details, and I'm sure you'll be followed up with more information on the condition of the students at the school by our mayor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As the chief has said, there was an aircraft that went down. It went down actually between two schools, and it's at times like this that there has to be a supreme being, because we have the West Side Lighthouse Charter in this footprint, and you also have Thea Bowman Academy in this footprint. It is in a wooded area behind this area. Right now we're trying to secure the scene. The coroner is on site processing the scene, and there was some separation of the body or bodies, and the coroner is in fact gathering the body parts and also taking pictures so that they can preserve as much information as possible for the NTSB and any other federal agencies that will be here to process the scene.
Was there any type of distress signal received at the Gary Airport?
There, in fact, was not a distress signal received. The Gary Jet Center did, in fact, expect the aircraft to land. The expected time was 11:19, but they never received any distress signal.
So the flight plan was filed with the origin of Smyrna, Tennessee?
Yes, Smyrna.
Smyrna?
Yes, SMYRNA.
Where was the ultimate destination?
They were going to the Jet Center, yes, which is the private entity that is related to the Gary Airport.
They have already said, did they say how many people were on board?
At this time, we do not know.
What type of airplane?
Just general
aviation aircraft.
Can you tell from the wreckage, it's a 4-person aircraft, but does it have a single prop? Is it a single engine plane or double? Can you tell?
We cannot tell from the wreckage.
So can you describe what the wreckage is like?
The wreckage, the aircraft is in multiple pieces, and when we arrived, it was burning, of course. We cannot determine all the parts of the aircraft at this time.
Can you describe what the scene looked like when you arrived, as far as the fire and smoke and everything?
Well, I have to let the incident commander speak to that. I didn't come in immediately on the scene. Our command staff is still working in the command module right now, doing some assessments. We do have a unified command established with multiple agencies from the Gary Police Department, Lake County Sheriff's Department, and the Lake County Coroners.
What did you see when you got here?
When I arrived here, of course, the wreckage is about maybe almost a half a yard beyond the street here. So there was still flame and smoke showing at that time. Of course, our companies did extinguish the flame, and at that point we worked to preserve the scene.
It's about 400 yards, right?
About 400 yards. Yes.
400 yards.
Any property damage when this aircraft was going down? Any school property?
No. Just it went down in a open field with some trees and high brush.
What's the biggest piece of plane you saw out there?
I could not determine that.
So it's basically in many, many, many pieces.
I can't say that neither. I just know that it's not identifiable at this point.
Was the victim in the wreckage, or had he or she been thrown from the remains of the plane?
That I cannot determine at this point.
Did any neighbors report seeing or hearing anything unusual prior to the crash?
There is
No.
one separate report of a person saying that they saw something go down, but that can't be verified at this time because that person left the scene.
Has there been any kind of, were you able to determine who was on the plane or what plane it was by like some identification number, like on the tail end?
Well, there is consistency between a tail number and the aircraft that was expected to land at the Gary Jet Center.
And the spot where it landed, is that private land or city land or state land?
We're not really sure who owns the land. It is behind a city-owned facility, the Brunswick Center, but we're not sure how far back the city's ownership goes.
Mayor, your information that there was no distress call, does that come from the tower or does it come from the jet center?
That comes from both places,
Okay,
the
so
tower and the Jet Center.
was
They've
no-
been on site and they indicated that there was no distress call. In fact, it was not even on their radar, really.
What's the most recent recent crash that you can recall, anyone?
Just asked that. About a year ago.
It's beyond 2 years. Beyond 2 years.
Would it be probably a similar type of aircraft, small?
Did it come down the street?
Can you step up?
I can't say for certain.
Mayor, do you know if there was no distress call? Was there any previous call since this aircraft was bound for Gary Municipal?
Only the flight plan being filed and the fact that it was expected at 11:19.
Is the Jet Center saying who they were expecting, how many they were expecting?
They didn't say the number. They did have a name, and we're not at liberty to release it at this time.
The person the name,
Yes.
is that person a resident of the Gary area or Tennessee?
No, out of the Tennessee area.
So what kind of information would a pilot have to file a flight plan?
Well,
Or-
typically they would file a flight plan, certainly make arrangements to land at the Jet Center as well.
And how many aircraft come and go roughly per day?
I can't really tell you. I don't know.
It's close to school ending. Will there be any, holdovers or any alternate school releasing plans?
We've made arrangements with the school and with the Tri-City Center, also known as the Commons, for the children to be walked down to the Tri-City Center and to be picked up either by their parents or buses so that we can just keep as much traffic down here as possible and not alarm the parents any further. And I'm sure it's been a source of concern for them right now.
Are you aware of a night school or anything that might be?
Not in this facility, no.
Is that from both schools that are affected or the one school?
Just the one school. The Thea Bowman School actually is on Fifth Avenue. They dismiss onto Fifth Avenue, so their dismissal should not be affected. The West Side Lighthouse is scheduled to dismiss at 1:45.
What about after-school activities, tutoring, games?
We are suggesting that at least today that be suspended simply because we are trying to just clear the area as quickly as possible and minimize the number of individuals who are not associated with the emergency response to this site.
How many students are affected? About?
I'm not sure how many students are. There are 650 students in this school.
What's the name of the school again?
Westside Lighthouse Charter Academy.
I suppose it's much too early to know this, but is there any reason to believe that the pilot, after having encountered whatever the problem was, made a purposeful effort to avoid hitting any structures with the school?
We really don't have that information at this time.
Did you get a chance to look at the wreckage?
I did not. There's are all types of substances burning back there, and when it was described to me, I preferred not to.
Are you all closing this park to people out of?
We are. the Brunswick Center, the park will be closed. I know that there are some karate activities that typically occur there and sewing activities, but we are closing it today.
Do you guys plan on issuing additional information later today?
Yes, we will have a formal statement as we learn more, as the coroner processes the scene. We're hoping that we'll be able to provide more information. We just don't want to provide inaccurate information.
Chief, we have you. I want to ask you one other thing about. Can you talk about what happens now with the FAA and everything? If you could step up to the mic, that would be helpful.
We're going to let the police chief speak a bit.
Great.
Right now, we're treating this as a crime scene until the National Transportation Safety Board arrives tomorrow to make their determination and their investigation. So we will be protecting this scene and treating it as a crime scene until they arrive tomorrow.
We're supposed to arrive at 2:30.
They'll be here at 2:30 today.
That's the FAA.
FAA, 2:30, NTBS.
NTBS tomorrow.
NTSB.
NTSB.
So, access to the site, what do we think?
Yeah, it's closed off.
We've agreed to allow you to go up to the yellow tape. We have a taped off area. You can get that close, and we have some other fire response personnel that could possibly provide you some more detail of what they saw on arrival. We can take you up to the tape.
Chief, can you describe what you saw when you got up towards the scene?
Which chief? Police chief? I was in the area shortly after this incident occurred, and I saw smoke coming from that location. There were several parents here. They were concerned about their children. We made a determination that the school was not endangered in any type of way from this incident. So my officers immediately responded to that scene and tried to rescue whatever people they could rescue.
And when you got up, what was the scene? What they see? What was
Well,
the situation?
we notified the fire department. The fire department arrived.
There was too much fire to even approach the flame.
Smoke, yeah. The smoke was too heavy in the flames.
And did you get a look at it yourself?
I didn't get all the way up to the scene, but I did see the smoke and the flames.
And what if you could just kind of tell us what you saw?
Just heavy smoke, flames coming from a wreckage.
Did the school report hearing anything?
We spoke to some people in the school. They heard a bang. They thought it was a truck accident.
Is the tail number identifiable?
That's still under investigation. We wasn't able to get that information.
We don't know exactly whether it's like a Cessna or whatever type of plane.
What type of
Do you know
plane?
what type of plane it is?
I think it's a single-engine plane.
We received a call of a small plane crash in the area on the west side here, 7th and Clark Road. We received it upon arrival. We saw heavy smoke and flame in the bush area in the rear, approximately 300 feet back. And we went out there and we noticed that they had a plane crash, possibly 2 victims inside.